Marty from Get Started. I'm the CEO, and it's probably my 6th Kentico connection. However, I do a couple each year, so I'm probably cheating a little bit. We celebrated 15 years just last month. In July, actually, we celebrated 15 years. We started as an organisation, specifically designed in our approach to help small businesses get on the web. That's where the name came from. We, our clients and the user have completely changed over those 15 years, and the name stayed, but I suppose the intention remains. We've done over 200 Kentico websites. We've got 6 certified developers of a team of 22 developers and an overall team of 43 people. A couple of those are abroad. Welcome. Some of these clients, considering the audience, you probably won't know, but there'll be probably a couple in the not-for-profit sector like World Vision or Salvation Army that you would know. The State Government of Victoria is there. Actually, the top one some of you will know is Schneider Electric. It says Clipsal there. It's an Australian company bought by Schneider Electric. So we've changed as an organisation. I was talking with James yesterday. We were traditionally that development organisation who was known for our development. It's probably why we're good at Kentico. Backgrounds in .NET. In part, we're application developers. And we changed probably 5 or 6 years ago to be far more focused on websites. Originally, we would do anything that worked on a browser, which got us into a bit of trouble. Because we built a point-of-sale system for a winery, a student administration system for Melbourne University, right through to a single-page website or a very large product catalogue website. In recent years, we changed by just focusing on Kentico. We do CMS. 95% of our project work is in Kentico, and specifically, that's probably why we got to so many Kentico websites. But specifically, what was the difference is we started to move towards strategy. Our ability to do design massively increased through strategic recruitment, but ultimately our focus moved from, hey, let's publish content, to, hey, let's look at how people buy stuff. And really that's context for today. Oh, wow, that's the wrong button. There we go. So the evolving path to purchase. So things have changed from many years ago in the way that we used to sell products. But if you consider in the last 20 years how digital has just changed the overall path to purchase, you've got to look at the way we started. Originally, businesses took their existing product catalogue or their brochure and published it. We did that year after year. We got better at it, improved the way it looked, but ultimately it was one way. The next phase became transactional. We looked at it, okay, well, that catalogue that we would normally send in the mail, maybe people can now actually purchase from that. We've shown interest in it, and so that communication became two-way. To the model where we have today, which is engagement. Many people will actually engage with a brand and not actually buy, which is in some cases quite confusing. Some people can be a brand ambassador without ever actually purchasing from that client, either in store or online. Yet as an organisation and as digital marketers, we actually need to engage with them ongoingly. The idea that I can purchase something, have after-sales support relating to whatever it may be, my general thoughts, my comments, my ideas about your brand. My complaint is not necessarily the foremost thing that you're engaging with me about. It's actually whether I like it. You're asking me the question, do I like this, and should I tell my friends about it? The model has completely changed in the way that we communicate online. When you look at the digital strategy as a marketer, now most people in this room are partners. The reason I'm giving you this particular presentation is because this is what your clients are now dealing with. And for those who don't know what a DAM is, digital asset management. Personalisation, e-commerce, CRM, the actual website CMS itself. The whole strategy and the way that they actually engage with their clients has changed. Therefore, the way that we need to sell it to them needs to change. But ultimately, the way that we approach a project also needs to change. I'm not saying that you need to deal with all of this. I am saying that you need to consider it and be able to have the conversation. We stopped selling websites some time ago. All of us in this room, we have stopped selling websites. We're now implementing a strategy. The question becomes, where do we fit in? What services are you going to provide as part of that strategy? You don't have to do all of it, but we do need to actually be aware of it. And at least have the conversation. I don't want to deal with social media, I'm not interested. I believe that there will continue to be specialist organisations that agencies like ours can work with. And it's imperative that we do, and we do it well. I want to influence that conversation. I don't necessarily need to control it. This is the traditional approach to a path to purchase. Many of you will have seen this before. Since the dawn of time of selling something, this is how it went. You became aware of the product or the brand. You considered that product and its features, its price. You made a purchase. You got then potentially some service following that purchase. And ultimately, where possible, organisations were looking for loyalty. So, Harrods, the department store in England, this is the particular model that they worked on so well for so long. The awareness is extremely high. People could consider quite easily whether that product was right for them. Make a purchase and continue to repeat that cycle. That's what department stores did so well. The thing is, that's changed. It's still the same as a process, but the way now that we interact with it is different. Consider that the user is now influencing that path to purchase far more heavily than before. The role of the digital marketer has to be that we engage with them along that life cycle. Consider there's, can everyone see that and read it fairly well? I'm going to go through it in depth. My intention today is to go look at consideration. If you think of awareness, think of that as the SEO or SEM or the entire strategy around social, whatever it be, to have the customer be aware of you in the first place. But that is supported with search, for example, which can be part of that consideration. And purchase, there's a whole separate component as well. So I'm really, at this point, only really want to deal with consideration. But I've shown you the whole gamut of the cycle, so you get that we need to actually be aware of both and identify how we influence it. Where is our role in this cycle? Ultimately, in this presentation, we're going to look at high research products. So in the case of purchasing a book, I'll go to now, in the case of purchasing a book, we can be involved from awareness through to purchase and service following that and the loyalty. So there's an entire strategy there. The idea of having a product catalogue with search filtering tools, reviews and recommendations, your shopping cart, your wish list, and all the work that Amazon has done to convince us that we should continue to buy from them has been quite effective. It's a path well trodden. This is normal and standard now. Many of you have done this, implemented it for your clients, are well aware of it. I'm interested in the car, the house, the bed. That high research. Consider the last made. Who's purchased a car online? Anyone? Like actually, sight unseen, purchased a car online. A house, a bed. You bought a house online you never saw.
I know the place, so.
So you've seen it at some point.
I've seen after, but there was most of the decision making was online, and then I physically went to Dubai and.
Yes, and that's the value of online. What we're doing is actually reducing the amount of time that I've got to spend in these stores. The idea that we research online is what all of you do currently. But the level of research that the user does on high research items such as a house is far greater than has been in the past. Why are they different? A product like a book is just a product. The actual, even to a certain extent a laptop, there's some level of commodity to it. But when you add a service component to it, there's particularly of a larger purchase, you start to get to a $30,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 purchase. You're more engaged. There's an emotional part to it, there's an aspirational component to it. You may consider your entire lifestyle and how it fits with it. The buying decision is different. You need to be far more aware of what's involved in terms of the actual overall research about that product and how it's going to impact your life. Whereas a book's a book. You said buy the book, I bought the book. That was simple as that. The process was simple, got a nice checkout option. But I'm not probably going to buy a house online. Unlikely. So if I was buying a new home, it's, for many of us, the biggest purchasing decision you'll ever make in your life. Some of you in the room probably bought a business that was more expensive than your house, or it feels that way. But generally, it's the biggest purchase that people make. So what does it look like? And how does the builder actually use that path to purchase cycle in their favour? I'm going to give you an example of Metricon. Metricon are probably the largest home builder in Australia. Their vision is to be the best home builder in Australia ever. Not sure how to clarify that or quantify that, but that's their vision and we support it. They're committed to quality, excellence and delighting their customers, so we feel that we're aligned with their strategy. So we're in the consideration phase on the overall path to purchase. So on a high research item, so we don't necessarily follow these steps when I buy the book. This is far more when it's a greater investment. You may actually follow these steps, but it may be a faster cycle. A longer cycle on a high research item kind of goes like this. So there's a trigger, research, comparison, exploration, learning, commitment, and then finally the purchase. So I'm going to give you an example. We talked about personas a little bit in the last day and a half. We're working a lot now with personas, in part because it provides a focus, but also it provides a really good example of how we should cater for that particular person when developing a website. So Jane and William, they're parents of a 2-year-old boy named Sam. They're renting in Melbourne currently. Those who don't know, Melbourne's at the bottom of the planet, or technically the top, depending how you look at it. William works full-time in finance, and while Jane is part-time graphic design. So, what's their trigger point? Well, there's 2 things. We've got a promotion, they've been renting for some time, but actually Jane's also 3 months pregnant. And they're now looking at what is it going to be like for us to raise 2 children in an apartment in inner Melbourne. We want a house with a backyard. So that was the trigger point. And it's in a family-friendly suburb. So they move to the research phase. Jane loves browsing websites on her iPad. We've seen this with another company that does bedding, who 61% of their traffic is on iPad. Because people sit and watch television. And the women in particular, in the category of, I think it's 24 to 35, of women on the couch with an iPad, watching TV, triggered by an ad and search on their iPad. It's a huge focus in Australia. The demographics around iPad penetration is extremely high. And she's watching a lifestyle TV show. She gets triggered by an ad or a thought about the home, jumps on the iPad and searches for the kind of home that she might be interested in based upon the number of bedrooms or the price is probably the starting point for Jane. Fully responsive, as you would expect, because I then may jump to the mobile because it was actually early morning watching breakfast TV program, and then I've taken the tram and I continue my searching on the tram. So both Jane and William draw inspiration from the image galleries and this concept of a lookbook. I also want you all to check out this website afterwards because we spent a lot of time on it. But there's some really cool components to it. Even the ability to actually, within Kentico, specify a particular component of an image to provide some copy that supports that. So the image gallery provides a sense of what sort of style the Jane and William are interested in. They use a search and filtering to find their perfect home. So on a double story, 3-bedroom, there are my options. Fairly standard in a filtering strategy. I can obviously refine that. From there I've got the ability to actually add it to my favourites, but there's a really cool bit that I want to show you just in a moment. Obviously a virtual tour and ability to see inside the home. See, considering how much research you would do in purchasing your own home. I could buy one that's already established. Well, this is the cool bit. Look at the floor plan. I can flip that floor plan around. What's great, I can also see other options that are available with this floor plan. So on the fly, the floor plan is updated. That kind of was pretty cool. It's also pretty hard. I'm using SVGs for those who are technical enough to be interested in that. That was really a game changer. If you think about it, you go into and see the rep. John's my rep at Metricon. I go in with my iPad. I've actually got the floor plan that I'm interested in, John. Don't give me all your sales speak. I'm going to tell you what I want to purchase. Completely different approach because I've done the research. I'm informed as the user. Metricon have basically given the opportunity for the user to design their own home in a way that actually shortens the sales cycle. So that purchase phase at the end, that component, come in, please. Welcome. Take a seat. That purchase phase, where I'm actually basically, I'm coming to you with an iPad saying, I want to buy this. $500,000 house, and the purchase phase is fundamentally impacted by the fact that the consideration phase was so heavily web-based. Whether it's a car or a house or a bed or whatever it may be, you've all done this in different ways. What the web is now doing is influencing the path to purchase far more strongly than before. But the expectation of the user has gone up at a different level. Their ability to actually print that PDF for the floor plan is actually just now standard. Of course they can actually make changes to it. If Metricon allows for the ability for that house to change, then it should be available. Jane and William look for home and land packages in their favourite suburb. So they search on the website, find by the suburb, look at it on a map. In this particular case, that's Queensland. Go, I want to change it to Victoria. Choose Melbourne. Get the map of Victoria. I can see the display home. So in Australia, we have a bit of land left, and as a result, we package up those land. We do display homes on those vacant parcels of land that are usually far outside the city. So make a selection on which one that I'm interested in. Ooh. So they use obviously a favourites function, as many of you have seen before. So many different home designs that you want to actually distill it down to a couple of different ones that are preferable. And so then when I'm actually walking into the salesperson, I'm either, here's my floor plan, or here's the two that I'm kind of interested in, but also here's the house styles that I'm interested in as well. So I'm going to add to my lookbook is this idea of these are the galleries of the things that I'm interested in. And the idea that myself and my partner, so Jane and William, can actually share this information between them. Often couples do researching separately. This gives them the ability to actually share that with each other. So in this case here we've got a house and land package for $450,000 approximately. Jane likes the ability to actually compare the designs. This is really cool, love this. So I've got to the final bit where I'm like, alright, I've distilled it all down. Now what are the differences? So I've got three. There's the three that I'm interested in. And I can clearly see the differences between them. So the first floor versus the ground floor plan. So the comparison components, we're actually focused so much on being able to allow the person to make the decision themselves by doing their own research. If you spend $500,000, you're probably going to spend some time on this. The expectation now is that you can. and more importantly, compare. So on the weekend, so now we're moving to the exploration phase. So I want to actually now go from digital back to physical. So we're going to go and see the display home on the iPad, in the car. Actually, I've forgotten where this particular place is. So I'm going to go search for that again. Choose the area that I'm interested in. Great, that's the one I was after. And go to Display Center. Give me actual Google Map directions directly to that. And if I wanted to, but that's inside the browser itself, but I can also go, one moment. Sorry, I thought it was a little faster than that. Perfect, great. Now actually, there's my full details. Give us to me directly in Google Maps. Less arguments in the car with the wife on the way. And she's driving, by the way. Alright. So, learning. It's a component of blogs which obviously influence the decision. You're going to spend $500,000 on a house. You want to make sure that the companies that's selling it to you is giving you some more inspiration around it. Tell me what it is that is the things to look out for when building a house. Educate me. Those information about the blog. We've seen that Jane is all over the blog. She loves the blog because it allows her to feel more comfortable about a buying decision on a product that she doesn't completely understand. So educating you with more familiar information that allows her to walk in and not look like an idiot is actually a service to her. William gets validation from other people's experiences. Obviously there's a testimonial component. What we're focusing on here is that William and Jane have different triggers as to what allows them to make the decision. They're ready to speak to someone. They submit an inquiry on the website by filling out a form. This integrates with Microsoft CRM Dynamics and triggers the sales process. Now, from here, they also see a promotion. This was a really cool thing that we did with Kentico. Metricon have the actual ability to use the portal template that's within the CMS to be able to pull together an offer. Literally, we've got a drag and drop option. We know exactly how we built it, so don't ask me, but there, that video's not triggering. Trust me, it's cool. That what it does is allows them to pull together that offer because it changes so readily. Oh, it does trigger, which is great. So I can't influence completely the purchase phase. So I can't deal with the purchase phase because I don't believe that someone's going to buy a house online. And more importantly, Metricon doesn't want people to buy a house online because there's so many things they want to tell you and deal with that are unique and specific to you, like what do the tabs look like? Here are the 5 options of that. There's 60,000 components that go into a new build home. That would be a hell of a database if you could find some way to pull all that together in terms of the number of combinations. But what we do want is an educated user who's got through the consideration phase is now chosen them as a builder. See, that's what the point of this is. It's not actually to close them in terms of a sale. It is to close them as the preferred brand or organisation that is going to provide the service or product. Now, what we know about Jane and William through that whole process, there's a reason I took you through that, is that we tracked it all. We now know Jane is interested in buying a home in Coburg. She's looking for a 4-bedroom house. Her preference is the industrial style. Just a lot of concrete surface images are added to her favourites. She's been researching for 3 or 4 weeks. And considering the blog content she keeps clicking on, she's actually very interested in us. And the price range is $350,000 to $500,000 Australian dollars. What does this mean to Metricon? What we've actually done is provided them the ability to qualify someone in or out. If the budget range is $150,000, I'm probably going to call you slower than I'm going to call you. If you've got $500,000, you're my first phone call. Give them a score, obviously it triggers my sales process. But ultimately from here, even if they don't fill out an inquiry, I can continue to present content to them in a way that actually is more effective. Because there's so much going on there. If she's interested in Coburg and I've got a particular sale on Coburg, which is a suburb of Melbourne, then I'm going to present information that supports that.
The aim of the website and the redevelopment project was to basically delight our customers and deliver a better customer experience.
I think the big challenge for us and what we were really focusing on the whole time is that there's a huge amount of information out there that would ordinarily could be very confusing to a visitor. And the focus for Metricon and for us was to streamline all that information and make it as easy as possible for the user. So when they hit the website, they get the information that they're looking for, they get it fast, and it's actually a pleasant experience for them.
We wanted something that they could not just visit and never come back to, something they could keep coming back and referring to. A big piece of that was sort of allowing easy entry into the site and an easy understanding of what's available, but then allowing them to kind of build upon their experience and record and save things that they were interested in and build their portfolio of what their final product would be.
One feature I think is really nice is when you're looking for a display home, you can pull it up on the map, you can search for display homes near me, which is a function you see on many websites. However, then you can go one step further and say, show me directions without actually leaving the site. Responsive design is all about designing a website that you have a single website that will be optimised as much as possible for every user on every device in every situation.
In some cases it's quite functional, so when you're searching, your sort of search tools are quite simple and easy to use and intuitive. When you're exploring lookbooks, it all becomes a lot more visual and exploratory.
So the focus throughout the site is on creating a personalised experience for the user. For example, they search for a home design, they pull up the floor plans for that design. They don't just have to download a PDF of those floor plans. They can go through and select, unselect different options. They can flip the floor plan sideways. They can add an extra bedroom. They could be doing that on their iPad at a display home.
People are investing a significant amount of money in buying a new home. So the aim of the website is to actually facilitate that process for our customers and to make the buying process as easy as possible. That means making it simple for them to search and find the homes that they're looking for. That means providing them with advice along the way so that they understand, if they're new to the process, what that looks like. And it means taking them on the journey and explaining what that process is going to look like and in effect holding their hands through that entire process.
My main message is that if Amazon can know me as a customer and suggest books to me that are likely to be relevant, how do we do that with high research products such as a home, a car or a bed? And that the way to do that is by understanding the path to purchase and supporting the user along that path with information that allows them to consider you as an organisation, or your client as an organisation, as the one who is on the shortlist before purchase. Thanks.